Have you ever stared at your health insurance bill and just wondered, where does that number even come from? Well, today we're going to crack the code on your health premium.
You know, it can feel like a number just pulled out of thin air, but it turns out there's a surprisingly logical method behind it, and we're about to break it all down.
In just the next few minutes, we're going to open up that black box, unpack the core formula, and show you exactly what goes into your premium.
Okay, let's dive right in. Now, before we get to the big formula, we need to get a handle on a couple of key terms that insurers use all the time.
First up is the premium itself. Really, the simplest way to think of this is just your subscription fee for health coverage. It's that fixed amount you pay upfront, usually every month, to make sure your policy stays active.
Now, here's a concept that might surprise you. When you pay that premium, the insurance company doesn't just consider all that money theirs right away. Nope. They actually split it into two buckets: the earned premium for coverage they've already given you, and the unearned premium for the coverage you still have coming.
Let's make this super clear. Imagine you pay $120 for a full year of coverage. If you cancel exactly halfway through the year, the insurer has only earned $60 for those 6 months they covered you. The other $60? That's still considered unearned, and they legally have to refund it to you. Pretty cool, right?
Okay, so now for the main event, the actual formula that insurance companies use to figure out how much you're going to pay in the first place. And this is it. It looks simple, doesn't it? But these three words, they are the fundamental building blocks of every health insurance premium out there. Morbidity minus interest plus expenses. Let's break down what each of these really means.
So everything starts with this word, morbidity. It's a bit of a technical term, but all it really means is the insurer's best guess, their core prediction on how likely a group of people is to get sick or injured. It's a massive statistical calculation of how much they think they'll have to pay out in claims for a group just like yours. Now, for a part you probably didn't expect, a factor that actually lowers your premium. See, insurers don't just let your payments sit in a bank account. They invest them. And the interest they earn from those investments gets subtracted from the overall cost. So yeah, when your insurer has a good year on the stock market, it can actually help keep your premium down.
And finally, well, just like any other business, they've got to cover their costs. This is sometimes called the loading factor, and it gets added back into the calculation. It's everything from employee salaries and office rent to advertising and, of course, their profit margin.
Okay, so let's circle back to that first and honestly most important piece of the puzzle, morbidity. How in the world do insurers actually calculate this core risk factor? So how do they figure out the risk? Well, they look at a few key things. They crunch tons of historical claims data, they look at your age and sex, and even your job. I mean, a roofer probably has a higher risk profile than a librarian, right? In some cases, they also use what's called a community rating, which means they base your premium on the general health of everyone else in your city or county.
And this brings us to a really fascinating and kind of counterintuitive fact. You might already know that men often pay more for life insurance, mainly due to shorter average lifespans. But for health insurance, it's often the other way around. Women typically face higher premiums, which reflects different lifelong patterns of using healthcare.
Now let's talk about the parts of the premium that you can actually influence, because the choices you make when you pick out your policy have a direct impact on that final price you pay. You should think of these as the dials and levers you can actually control. So if you want more benefits or a longer period of time that the insurer will pay out, well, that's going to raise your premium. But if you want to lower it, you can choose longer waiting periods before your coverage kicks in. That elimination period is a super important idea to get. It basically works like a deductible, but instead of being measured in dollars, it's measured in time. It's the number of days, say 30 or 90 days, that you agree to wait before your benefits start paying out.
And here you can see that trade-off perfectly. A really short waiting period means you get your benefits sooner, but that comes with a higher premium. But if you're able to cover your own costs for a bit longer and choose a longer waiting period, the insurer's risk goes down and they pass those savings on to you with a lower premium.
Okay, let's put this all together and just look at the complete picture one more time so it really sticks.
So at the end of the day, it's all a balancing act. The insurer takes the predicted risk of covering you, they subtract the money they expect to make by investing your payments, and then they add their own business costs and profit margin back in. That final number, that's your premium.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's this. While you can't change things like your age, you are absolutely not powerless.
You have direct control over the structure of your policy. By really understanding the relationship between your benefits, those waiting periods, and the final price, you can actively design a plan that actually fits both your health needs and your budget.
So the next time you look at a health insurance quote, don't just see a price. See the formula that's working behind the scenes. See that balance of risk, investments, and expenses. And most importantly, see the dials that you can turn. Because knowing the formula isn't just trivia, it's the power to take control of your coverage.